Hello, everyone. This is Chris McCabe of e-commerce. Chris doing another, we used to call them Ask an Amazon Agency videos, but we're doing instructional, educational videos with all kinds of people, not just agency owners, sellers, and other well-wishers within the Amazon community, like Max Sigurdson today, based out of Edmonton, Canada.
Very good.
Maybe outside of Edmonton. I'm not sure exactly where you are.
Right in the middle.
Right in the middle of it. Max and I have had, I would say, between 1 and 2 dozen conversations since the Prosper Show in March, going over some mistakes, common mistakes we see people making. Typically, I'm talking about mistakes that get people suspended or in the appeals process. But on your side, you've been talking to me a lot about failures to optimize. I'll let you speak for yourself, but my sense is that some of it is based on hacks and tricks that maybe they hear about at an event or hear from a buddy about another seller, try to copy what another seller is doing. So I guess maybe that's a good starting point. Is it one of those three things, two of those three things? Where do some of these mistakes you're about to go through come from?
Yeah, just sort of my own experience running my own tests on my account and other people's accounts, and the stuff that I've picked up from people much smarter than me that has been proven to be true. See tons of mistakes all the time. I'm auditing people's ASINs all day, and these are just sort of some of the main ones. Not only the most common ones, but probably the most impactful ones, the ones that are going to matter to people the most.
Yeah. And you occasionally belong to groups where these things are kicked around, shared. So you get a chance to pick apart kind of the before and after, give some advice.
Yes, sir. Exactly like that.
Cool. Well, I'll get out of your way, let you roll. And what's the first example that you have?
Sure. I have some notes here. I think I wrote 5 or 6. So these are kind of, the main ones. First one I'll talk about is, and I'll share my screen in a second here. But the first one is conversion rate. And Amazon, they like to make money. And so the number one thing they care about is for ranking is conversion rate. So whoever's ranked number 1 just simply has the best conversion rate. If you're ranked number 2, the number 1 guy is selling more stuff than you. It's just how it is. And I feel like there's sort of a pretty big misunderstanding with a lot of people about what it takes to rank. And it really is just sell more than the other guy. I mean, they're, in a big picture, there is, other levers that you can pull, but the main 2 levers for conversion rate are price and content. Generally speaking, if you have better content than other people, you're going to rank higher. And generally speaking, if you've got a lower price than other people, you're going to rank higher. So if you can get both of those things going, then yeah, you're going to rank as high as possible. So, I mean, there's a few other things like review counts, promotions. These things matter, but not as much as price and content. So what we do is we run PPC until we're highly ranked. And I'll just show you an example here. I'll share my screen. And then we turn it off once we're high enough ranked. So here's an example to a standard sort of keyword chart where you can see we started in May, and then we have a bit of a rank drop in here from about the 23rd of May to about the 6th or the 5th of June. And then we continue on being ranked 1. Here's what it looks like, the exact same graph, but on the PPC. So we just did a little tiny bump for PPC in this area because we dropped rank, but then we turned it back off. And you can see we're sticking up at the top because, PPC doesn't matter. If your conversion rate is really good, you're not going to drop. Mm-hmm. I'll just show you what that looks like. Once we started doing that, this is sort of something new that we've been doing. Here's that keyword again. This is a single keyword campaign. And you can see here how much we're spending. We're spending almost $100 a month here, or $100 a week or so here. And then once we sort of turned it off and figured this out, then, we're not spending anything on this at all. So there are other things that matter as far as conversion rate goes, like review count, badges, promotions, etc. But generally speaking, price and content are going to be the biggest things that matter for conversion rate. And so I see lots of people talking about all kinds of weird things about how to rank and whatever. And it's really, that's all it is. Yeah. Okay. So let's go over to split testing. So this is an image of a Magnum ice cream bar, and this is what I see on a lot. This is like on a lot of listings is the product as it is. And I know that sounds like okay, the product as it is, but in e-commerce, we don't want to show the product as it is, because generally speaking, most products are designed for store shelves, but e-commerce is a different world where we want to optimize for small screens. And we want to show our stuff to people who are distracted and aren't standing right in front of something, like somebody's on their phone shopping on Amazon and their dog's barking in the background and their kids yelling and it's bright outside and they can't see their phone fully and they forgot their glasses. And so we want to make something that is quite obvious to the buyer. So here's an example of a mobile optimized image. So we want to split test and make sure that our images are better for mobile. It's really pared down. It's very clear what it is. I'll just show you a couple examples that we did too with split testing for a brand, a flax brand. Here's one where we're selling flax, and this is us, option A here. And you can see that we start with a baseline. So we tested our flax image versus the competitors, and we only got 22% of the votes. But then we took what the customers were saying was wrong or why they liked option B the most, and we updated it. And you can see that then we win here more. So this is going to improve your conversion rate if you're split testing your images, and it's going to get more people to your listing. You can also split test pricing in here. Here's an example of a price split test where is a keeper graph. So you can see like the average price in here is around the $17, $18. And then we just like took off here and tested all the way up to $28, $29. And you can see the BSR didn't change all that much. See this a lot in the ASINs that I audit is nobody changing their price for years. Like they're just at $15.99 for 6 years straight and they never test anything. And,
Well, the concept of split testing is known. So what are the main mistakes people are doing when
Not
they
doing
split
it.
test? I mean, they're doing it more now than they were, let's say, 2 years ago.
Sure.
Fair to say.
Yeah, agreed. Yep. More people are talking about it.
But are there common split testing mistakes other than kind of winding it up and letting it go and not really paying attention to it?
For pricing, I think it's pretty hard to make a mistake if you have a tool, because generally speaking, what they do is if BSR goes up like crazy, once you raise the price, then they just bring it down automatically. So you're pretty safe, like you would test some sort of high price and okay, it doesn't work. Then you would drop it back down.
Right.
With images, I would say the main thing people do that's a problem is they're not testing anything that's bold enough. They make small changes.
Okay.
Like they'll change one small color or the size of a text in some area, and it's just not enough. Split testing takes time or money, and both things you need. So make big bold changes, I think, would be the main problem that people have.
Right. Like a night and day difference, not cosmetic.
Exactly.
Right.
Once you kind of get to that point where, and I mean, split testing's like breathing, you can't stop, but once you kind of get to that point where you have a bit of diminishing returns, then you can try some minor tests, but I've never got to that point.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah. So first one is conversion rate and just understanding what it is. The second one is split testing. I mean, everything. I'm just saying images and price because those are sort of the main ones. But, if you feel so inclined, you can split test your bullet points and your A+ content and the things that matter a little bit less. But it just sort of depends on your appetite for it. Yeah. Okay. Next one is pricing dead zones.
Ooh,
So
that sounds.
yeah, it sounds scary.
Yeah.
So there's a low fee or a low price dead zone. This is what they replaced with small and light. So if you remember the small and light program, where you were under a small size, then you would get lower FBA fees. But now they've removed that, and it's under $10 is the new rule for the low price FBA fee. So basically, you never want to price your product in the 10 to 12 range. There should be no products on Amazon that are in between $10 and $12, because you're going to be paying more in fulfillment fees at, let's just say $11 than you would at $9.99.
Okay.
There's also category specific dead zones that I'm showing on the screen here above. Like for grocery, you never want to do $15 and $17.50 because you're going to be paying more fulfillment fees and you're going to be making less. So here's an example I just found. This is some cookies. This thing is selling 900. Well, it's sold 900 multiple times. They're pricing it at $15.99 right now. Here, this Rev Seller little add-on right here, $15.99, and they're making $7.82 per unit. Now, if I drop the price to $14.99, let's just do that. They make more, $8.02 a unit. So they're selling it for $1 less, and they're making 20 cents more. So yeah, basically watch out for these dead zones where you shouldn't ever price anything.
Good to know.
Yeah.
That's not a concept I'm personally that familiar with, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you just end up paying more for nothing, because your product is, back to the first one, your product is going to convert way better at a lower price. So why not take that? Plus you'll be making more money.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then here's the other one, sort of a similar one, with product size tiers. So this is actually my product. And this is something that I'm actively working on, but you can see here again, Rev Seller, the weight is 1.01 pounds for this product. But if I could get the weight under 1 pound, so 0.02 pounds less, I save almost $1, well, $1.34 in fulfillment fees per unit. And this thing sells like 600 units a month. So it's basically, I'm lighting, $1,000 a month almost in just random Amazon fees because my product is 0.02 pounds too heavy.
Right.
Which is unfortunate.
Well, it's a learning experience. It's a costly experience, but a learning experience.
So everybody says they know this stuff, this one and the dead zones, but people still do it constantly, nonstop.
So why is that? Too busy, distracted, doing other stuff, or are they working with like an agency who's not pointing it out to them?
Yeah, it could be that. Honestly, I think a lot of people don't think about the product size tiers when they design their product. So maybe they just sell way more stuff on D2C and they can't be bothered.
Yeah.
But for me personally, like, most of the brands that I work with and my own stuff, like 95% of our sales are on Amazon. So we just design everything for Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just try to watch out for those size tiers. It's just, this is again, Rev Seller. It's super useful, but just having an understanding of where those price breaks are. The price breaks are actually quite more granular than they used to be. So it's not going to hurt you as much, but still this one hurts for sure.
Yeah.
And the last thing, I don't have a screenshot of it, so I'll just stop sharing. The last one I'll just say is
walk us through it.
Yeah, just variations. People aren't doing enough variations. If you've got a product that is selling well, add more variations. You're just going to make more money. It's as simple as that. More variations is in most cases more money. Like add bigger, bulkier sizes, add different colors, add different groupings. And I mean, in most cases, you'll just be advertising to the main hero SKU, and then all the other ones are just going to get a bunch of traffic ad free. And you're just going to make a lot more money.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I thought variations were hot. I thought people were kind of hip to this idea that once they had a winner, they wanted to start multiplying it.
Yeah, I have heard that, but in the real world, when you go out, and there's still so much lost opportunity for sure for people.
Yeah. And so I know we talked about this a little bit before, in terms of in the work we do, obviously we're working on a lot of ASIN takedowns, ASIN level appeals, whether it's seller mistakes, whether it's Amazon doing it, by accident. I mean, what do you think of the kind of some of the main reasons why? So there are a lot of ASIN audits being offered out in the world. You see them on LinkedIn, you see them on social channels. It's pretty common. Is that just because sellers tend to make multiple mistakes on their own without doubling back to check what they did, check their work? Or is it just you know, ASIN audits are easy to offer. And I mean, you spend a lot of time on these, clearly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
These are not cookie cutter.
Yeah. I don't know what other people are doing. And I see a lot of people out there offering like AI audits. And I'm sure that eventually that's going to be a thing. I haven't
Mhm,
seen an AI audit yet that's been convincing to me.
right?
I think it's the reason there's so many audits out there is the same reason there's so many PPC managers out there, because everybody has a different sort of understanding of what they think works and what levers they need to pull. And so when there's so many different people who understand, an Amazon PDP differently, then everybody's going to think they know what they're doing. I don't know exactly what they're all doing. I only know what I'm
Yeah.
doing. Um, but yeah,
I think it probably falls into the thought in an event, somebody presented something. I'm going to try to duplicate that, try that. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. Maybe it works for one day, maybe it doesn't. And then just sort of the like watching competitors, watching what other sellers are doing, maybe even in other categories and trying to duplicate it. Um,
yeah,
but I'm surprised that midway through 2025, we still see some of the kind of lower tier mistakes that you see. And I'm not talking about brand new sellers, right?
oh no, yeah,
I'm talking about people who at least 2 years in, sometimes 4 years in or 5 years in. Um, and I guess the way to kind of get the message across is what? Just say you're leaving a lot of money on the table. I mean,
I have
that,
never audited an ASIN that's been perfect. If
mhm,
that's if that gives you any indication of how much lost revenue there is out there,
yeah,
there's always something that everybody needs to work on. The big sellers, little sellers, everybody, even
yeah.
me.
Well, there's always anyone, no one's perfect. Anyone can make a mistake. It's more the repetition of mistakes. Whether
Right.
it's on the optimization side, this applies to what we do too. Sometimes we even hear from the same sellers making the same mistakes that they made before they hired us, and then we did it the right way and fixed it. They come back to us six
Right.
months later,
They haven't changed anything.
like, well, it'd be one thing if they tried to kind of duplicate what we had done for them successfully and failed, and had to tweak it and didn't know how, and then they came back to us. But no, they were actually doing what they were doing before. That's what
Mhm.
kind of mystifies me. And maybe that happens in the optimization world too. Um,
Yeah, yeah, maybe. I think
Fear of the unknown.
yeah, maybe. But generally
Mhm.
speaking, once someone finds something that works, me personally anyway, and I think other people, they want to push it out to all their other ASINs. Like, oh, I
Right.
need to do that, or I need to do this. Yeah.
How many audits would you say you average, like a week or a month, and
Yeah,
more
probably do
often?
15 to 20 a week, I would say.
Wow.
Most of them are mini audits. Like just I post on LinkedIn. I'm like, just let me take a look at your stuff, and their listing's on fire, and then I just send them, a little Bloom video,
Mhm.
and then they go, thank you. And then I don't know if anything ever changes. But I do longer teardowns, like hour-long teardowns with, I'm a former high school social studies teacher, so I'm real good at giving people homework, and everybody
Oh, wow.
everybody gets homework. Um,
Nice.
but yeah, I do them constantly, right? So it keeps me
Yeah.
sharp and makes my listings better. I mean, I often learn sometimes more than other people do. When you look at so many listings
Mhm.
all day, it helps you make your stuff better too.
Yeah. No, for sure. We're looking at people's appeals all day, so we understand.
And you can kind of
It,
tell what Amazon's up to and how they're kind of feeling on a day to day.
yeah. Getting a temperature reading. It's not just basic do's and don'ts. Sometimes we see stuff that we don't think would get anywhere, and maybe it gets some traction. So you do learn from looking at appeals, even that we don't do in house. So that's interesting. Yeah. In addition to seeing what works and what doesn't when we're working on it ourselves. So,
Mhm.
but it's
And
all in education.
yeah, to kind of connect to your stuff. I mean, I would never ever recommend anything kind of black hat, and I see all that stuff too, like
Yeah.
all the review manipulation and the Vine review combining and all kinds of crazy stuff that people have tried and works. These kinds of
Yep.
things work for a little while until Amazon kind of catches on. So try to
That's
avoid
it.
all that kind of stuff.
That's it. It's interesting. um, with review manipulation, because a lot of times the policy is written in this way that kind of bans everything except for very basic actions, but they don't always enforce those things. And I think sellers got lulled into a false sense of security when certain, not just reviews, when certain things aren't enforced for a chunk of time, people assume that it's either going to stay that way forever or Amazon's aware of the activity going on out there and just lets it go because they want people to sell more. And that only works up until the point where a switch gets flipped and they start enforcing it.
Yeah.
And dozens or hundreds or low thousands of sellers are cut down.
One thing I'm curious about too, and what I recommend regularly is to digitally change your packaging. So look, kind of back to that Magnum example, that one is a bit drastic, but sometimes I say to, for example, take the text on your packaging and make it bigger, or remove certain elements of your packaging on your main image. You see a lot of people out there nowadays adding in hang tags or sort of different graphic additions to the main image. The reason I recommend it still is because the penalties are, jaywalking, not that bad. If you get caught or whatever, they just suppress it and you just upload the old image. Is that still the case? Because we find that, Amazon's terms of service on main images are pretty vague in the sense that we know that Amazon wants to make money. We know that Amazon wants to sell more stuff. And if I truly believe that I can digitally change my packaging to provide a better customer experience, I'm going to take that all day.
Kind of like it works until it doesn't. It's not enforced until it is.
Right.
It's very hard to predict. What can be predicted is if people start reporting each other a lot for one particular thing, then they become more interested in wider enforcement that gets ahead of the curve and stops people from sending in hundreds or thousands of abuse reports a day. Because if they think they can do something to head that off at the pass based on their last 2, 3, 4 weeks of getting messages from sellers about other sellers, they will do it. That does motivate them to do more sweeping changes. Reviews abuse, of course, being the best example of that.
For sure.
Because back in the day, no one knew how to report abuse. No one did it. No one compiled the evidence or the screenshots well or wrote a abuse report properly. They didn't send it to the right place. They just opened support cases or sent emails into general queues. So of course there wasn't much action taken because no one really did it. Now they know how to do it. So what happens? Well, all of these different marketing tricks and tactics for getting reviews are under scrutiny and there are sweeping changes. Well, everyone was deluging Amazon with these reports. So it was in Amazon's own interest to take action, even if it seemed counterintuitive with killing sales from some pretty decent sized brands. But no one thought about what are their selfish interests in terms of not getting 1,000 abuse reports a day about the same thing.
Right.
And that's what it became. That's what it's about.
Amazon's kind of all about Amazon trying to play that long game, right?
Exactly.
It's okay to kill a couple $100 million sellers or whatever in the short term.
And they expect them to be replaced anyway. That's another kind of piece of the logic.
That's true, yeah.
Maybe not overnight. Yes, maybe not overnight, but awesome stuff. We'll have to have you back on in the future. Where would you like people to reach you if they've got questions on anything you covered today?
Yeah, you can go to sellingfromthebeach.com, or you can just find me on LinkedIn. My name is in the bottom right left corner, I think, of this screen. Yep. I'm sure it'll be in the show notes. And just, shoot me a message on LinkedIn. I love to help people, and I love to find your blind spots. And it makes my blood boil when people get sold a bill of goods from agencies or liars or horrible people out there. I'm not going to call anybody out publicly.
Oh, there'd be
here.
too many to name. There's too many to name.
But if you go to my LinkedIn, I will definitely call you out publicly.
Right.
But not on here right now. So yes, shoot me a message, and happy to help you with whatever problem you can, or whatever problem you have, if I can. But thanks for having me, my friend.
Of course, I can vouch for you as definitely pro education and definitely a straight shooter. So, as you know, those things are always welcome with us on any of our videos, podcasts, or events. So I know you couldn't join us in France last month, but next event we have, hopefully you can be there for sure.
I'll be there.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Any questions, reach out to Max, reach out to us, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.